Hey, what up, folks? Welcome to the Film Focus page again. It's me, Mr. P, and I'm going to be giving you my newest review of Justice League, directed by Zack Snyder and starring Ben Affleck and Gal Gadot and Jason Mammoa. Now, this is the fifth film in the DC Extended Universe, and in this film, we see Batman, played by Ben Affleck, assemble a team of superheroes, Cyborg, Aquaman, The Flash, Wonder Woman, and eventually Superman, to take on this new supervillain called Steppenflat, who wants to gain these boxes, who wants to get control of these boxes which contain all these magical powers, and he ultimately wants to unleash hell upon the earth. Now, when I first learned that they were going to do a Justice League film, I wasn't too enthusiastic, purely because of the dire mess that was Dawn of Justice, Batman vs Superman, and also because of the so-so Suicide Squad. And I thought, okay, this franchise has got its work cut out for it. But then after seeing Wonder Woman, I thought, okay, the Marvel, the DC franchise has got taking it up to another notch. And I thought maybe this could work. As long as they got a good plot, good writers, great directing, they could pull it all off. Another problem for me was, okay, three of the characters in this film, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman, they've all had their own standalone films. The other three remaining characters in the film, Cyborg, Flash, and Aquaman, have not. So we don't have any backstory to these characters. How will we know anything about them? Will they be really, really good? If you look at how Marvel did it with the Avengers films, each character in the Avengers had their own standalone film, with the exception of Hawkeye and Black Widow. But they brought them all together, all the remaining Avenger characters, to be what was Avengers Assemble and Avengers Age of Ultron. So, here we are. Let's just base it on what it is. A standalone film. Forget about, comparing it to, the Avengers Assemble. How is this film? Well, Zack Snyder, who directed Dawn of Justice, Batman vs Superman, he was the director for this film. And after a tragedy in his family where his daughter sadly committed suicide, he stepped away from post-production duties and he left it up to Joss Whedon, who did, Avengers Assemble and Avengers Age of Ultron. And you can see his thumbprint on this film. So, good points about this film. The good thing about this film is it is better than Dawn of Justice and Suicide Squad, which wasn't that much of a hard task. But again, it is a thoroughly enjoyable film. It's not a great film. It's not a film that, after watching it, I thought, okay, damn, I need to have this on my DVD collection. It is an okay film, okay? And you can see Joss Whedon's thumbprint on this film. He gets a credit as a writer on this film. And this film has its tongue firmly in cheek. It is a lot more light-hearted in tone than some of the previous installments in the DC franchise. And it does work in some ways. Some of the comedy does work, with, Ezra Miller, who plays The Flash. He has some good comedic one-liners, as does Gal Gadot, who plays Wonder Woman. Ben Affleck, he's more of a good director than he is an actor. And I felt that in this film, whilst he was good as Batman, when it came to delivering one-liners or some comedic one-liners, they just missed their mark. They weren't as good as I thought they should be, or as they should have been. But as a film, it does have its moments. Jason Mammoa, who plays Aquaman, I thought he was a really, really enjoyable character in this film. And, he's got his own standalone film coming out in 2018, and I can't wait to see how that one comes out. He did bring a lot of likability to the role as Aquaman. And again, I thought that, Ezra Miller, played by The Flash, I wouldn't say he stole the show, but he provided the comic relief in this film, and he was quite funny in this film. There were some good one-liners, but as a film, it was okay. It wasn't as funny as, say, Thor Ragnarok or as Guardians of the Galaxy, but it did have its tongue firmly in cheek, and there were some good attempts at humour. Now, running time for this film is 2 hours, and originally the film was meant to be 2 hours and 50 minutes, which was 170 minutes. And it was cut down significantly to 2 hours and some change. And when I watched this film, I felt that it was a bit rushed. There was no consistency in the plot. The plot was kind of incoherent. There was no backstory given to any of these characters, especially Cyborg, Aquaman, and The Flash. And for me, the film felt a little bit rushed. It didn't know what it wanted to do with itself. But that being said, it does manage to do what it needed to do. I do feel that the action sequences weren't good. There were some good action sequences, but then the remainder, including the finale, wasn't as exciting as it could have been. I do also feel that the visual effects in this film were a bit shaky and weren't worthy of a finale. I do feel that they were a bit shaky in this film, and I think that they could have been better. Also, Henry Cavill, he comes back as Superman in this film. And surprisingly, he was a little bit more likable than in the previous 2 installments of Superman that I saw him in. And I thought, you know what, this guy's going in the right direction. And I think, he could be the Superman that we all wanted to see. I wouldn't say he would be as good as Christopher Reeve, because Christopher Reeve was in a league all of his own. But he was an enjoyable Superman. And, there was a lot of material that may have been missing from this film. And I think, they may include that on the DVD, like they did with the Dawn of Justice film. And I also felt that, a hero is only as good as its villain. And the villain, makes the hero look as good as it could be. And I felt that the villain in this film was kind of laughable. Steppenwolf, whatever his name was. He wasn't that great. Computer generated most of the time. And I don't think he added anything to the film at all. He was quite laughable in places. And I didn't think he made a formidable foe for the Justice League film. On the whole, I think that the reviews for this film have been mixed. Many people have been polarising it because of its tone, but I still do think that as a film, there is bits and pieces to keep people entertained. There are 2 post-credit sequences. So, like the Avengers, if you see any Marvel film, not to leave till the very end. So there are 2 post-credit sequences, which means that there's going to be more installments from the Justice League franchise. But as a film, it's okay. It wasn't a great film. It's not as bad as everybody's making it out to be, but it's okay. It's not a film that I would rush out to get immediately for my DVD collection, but it is an adequate watch. So I'm gonna give Justice League a 5.5 out of 10. Because I do feel that it was worthy of that. I think that it's is it one for everybody to watch? If you've got some time to spare, I'd say yes. Is it one for your DVD collection? If you're a hardcore DC fan, I'd say yes. If you're not, give it some time and get it in the sales. But on the whole, this film was okay. And, it's not as good as Wonder Woman. But it is, in terms of quality, in terms of entertainment value, better than Justice League and better than Suicide Squad. So, that's my review of Justice League. Tell me what you think. Feel free to leave your comments below. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I shall see you on the next film review. Take care. Stay blessed. Peace.